What's going on, guys, and thanks for joining me once again for another episode of my Everton career on FIFA 13. We've just won the Capital One Cup against Manchester United at Wembley. Now it's just the home stretch for the ending of the season. There's not many games remaining, and we just got to take every game as it comes. There's only going to be a game a week now, and in this episode you're going to be seeing 6 games. 6 games in one video. That's absolutely mental, and I think I'm going to be able to wrap up the whole season in the next video, simply because we get up to game 31, and I'll just put all the remaining games in the next video. It has been a short season. That's simply because we haven't been in many competitions at all. Of course, we're in the BPL because that's mandatory, and there's only 38 games to be played there. We was in the Capital One Cup, not many games played in there. We've won that, and we was knocked out of the FA Cup, as you've seen, against Manchester United. That was in the 3rd round, so we obviously didn't get through to the next round and play any more games in that competition. And of course, we wasn't in the Europa League or even the Champions League. But I'm hoping for next season it's going to be a little bit longer, because we have got that qualifying stage to focus on at the start of next season after winning the Capital One Cup against Manchester United. So that meant all we had to do was just concentrate on every game every week until the season finished. And as you saw there, Jordan wonderfully set up there by Morales with a half volley crossing, finding the head of Jordan. It's just a shame we're not making chances pay as much as we was at the start of the season. If you remember, we were scoring goals right, left and centre, and it was a big knock on after we lost Darren Bent. He was out for 3 months, and you just saw the performance that Jordan and Darren Bent had, the partnership. It looked so fresh and it was looking very promising, and that was such a huge knock-on effect, losing Bent. And look at Ola John just putting the ball wide. I thought that was going in. What a great goal that would have been, and it would have given him the confidence then to become even better. Mikel Forssell, who I brought on in the second half, almost made it 2-0. And I'm sure there was a handball there in that penalty area. Maybe we should have had a penalty there. But the final whistle does go, and we beat Norwich City 1-0. So we take those 3 points. Again, it's just another 1-0 win. I'm kind of getting frustrated with just these 1-0 wins. We do play Reading just 2 days later after that game against Norwich. There is my starting 11. As you can see, Jan Muka in goal. Tim Howard was looking tired. I've got Jelavic up front, and Hitzelsberger returns to the squad too. Hoping to pick up the win and continue our good run of form against Reading in the BPL and get those vital points. We just have to hope that the teams like Spurs and Liverpool and Arsenal, the teams that are in the top 5, drop points so we can take advantage of that, especially with some of the games that we've got coming up, games that we should be winning. And maybe we could take advantage of that and get into a Champions League spot for next season. That would be even better than being in the Europa League, and I'm sure that the board would want to keep me on as manager for next season too. Anyway, to the game that is in progress right now that you're seeing on the screen was against Reading at Goodison Park, and it was a very dodgy game. It's a very tough game against a very tough side in Reading, because they wanted the 3 points because they are battling against relegation. And what do? I go and tackle Guthrie, who goes down in the box by Leon Osman, who had already been yellow carded in the first half, and he got himself sent off. You didn't actually see that as Reading made the substitution and brought on Pogbraniak, and what a time to bring him on. He steps up and takes a penalty in the 90th minute, making it 1-0 to Reading. And to be fair, they really did fight for it, and they deserved it more than we did. I'd have quite happily have took a draw from that game, but it just wasn't meant to be. So we move on to our next fixture, and this game is going to prove to be even more tougher than the one against Reading. It was against Man City at Goodison Park. There is the league table. We're level on points with City. I'm very surprised as well. I would have thought they would be further up the top of the table than being in 6th position. And that was my starting 11. We got some returning players as well, like Tim Howard. We got Jordan as well, after they were left out of that game against Reading. And straight from the off, City had the ball. They was retaining possession, and Aguero just outside the box hammers the ball. We was just so lucky that it hammered against the post as well, because if that had gone in, I think that would have knocked our confidence so much that we probably would have walked away with a loss from this game and dropped to all 3 points and let City walk away with the win. But thanks to the ball hitting the post, we carried on battling with that typical Everton spirit. What a ball there from Fellaini, picking out Quincy Owusu-Bay, turns on the ball, and look at Jordan Ayew pulling away from the defender, finding space of his own and hitting that trademark bicycle kick of his. It was just unfortunate that it didn't go into the back of the net. It would have been a great goal, and I think it would have changed the game completely, simply because City, they seemed as though they were sitting back, they was relaxing, enjoying a nice little kickabout on a Sunday afternoon. That's what it seemed like. But I was getting into this game, and as the game was drawing to a close, Leighton Baines with one last attack maybe for Everton, finding Jordan Ayew in space again. Ola John, who I brought on in the second half, looking for Leighton Baines, maybe trying to get a header there against Joe Hart, but it just wasn't going to happen. And the final result was a 0-0 draw. That's fair enough. I will take that. We stay level on points with Man City. It was a good game overall. We just had to keep on going and look forward to the next fixture, which is against Arsenal, and we're playing away at the Emirates Stadium. This was my starting 11. Got Tim Howard in goal. Coleman returns to the squad. Got Leighton Baines and Distan as well. Pienaar, Gibson, Morales, Osman, who returns after his one-game suspension after he got sent off against Reading, and Jelavic up front as well. And Blondie was on the bench, a guy who was on loan from Manchester United. Arsenal were off to a flyer with that half volley there from Ramsey. I thought the ball was going to be rippling the back of the net, but Tim Howard just stopped it in its tracks. Look how quick we move the ball around. Arsenal pushing the team wide here down that left flank, and Ola John, the signing from January, gives it to Pienaar, and he just gives the ball back to Arsenal with a horrible first touch, and he could have done so much better with that. Maybe it's because Pienaar is getting older now, his reactions are starting to slow down, whereas Afobe, his youngster, he's the hitman for Arsenal, and it was just unfortunate for him that he didn't put that one away as the ball rattled the crossbar. And I gotta say, Arsenal in this game, they were looking more likely to walk away as the winners. They deserved it more than we did. And look at this, Afobe, there was appeals for offside, but Distan steps up to the challenge there of Afobe, almost breaking through. And look at this, from masterful passing, Jelavic picking out Morales in bags of space, totally unmarked as he peels away from the defender, crosses in the ball and finds Jelavic, who made his way into that box, and it was just a perfectly timed cross from Morales, and he makes it 1-0 in the 56th minute. All we had to do was hold on to this, and typical FIFA wouldn't allow me to see the replay. Arsenal, they wasn't going to back down though. They wanted another goal, get level, and Santi Cazorla almost made that happen, but the full-time whistle was blown, and we walk away from the Emirates as winners and those 3 points. And look at this, after the game, player returns from injury. I wonder who it could be. It's Darren Bent. Darren Bent, the Everton hitman, who had a great start to the season, was took out with a broken ankle, returns to action after 3 months of being out. This is going to be wonderful. What a time to return as well, right near the end of the season when we need him the most. We move on to our next fixture, which is against Stoke City. There is the league table, and after beating Arsenal, we are now only 4 points behind them. We just have to make sure that we keep on winning until that final whistle of the final day of the Premier League is blown. And that was my start 11 to play against Stoke. And as you saw, Darren Bent did start the game on the bench. I don't want to put him in the deep end straight away. I want to try and ease him back into action, playing for Everton. We just had to go through the first 45 minutes before he could return back on that pitch at Goodison Park. And Fellaini almost made it 1-0 in the first half before the 20th minute. And Sorensen, can I just say, he put in an absolutely wonderful performance. I was expecting less of him, to be honest, but it was just magnificent. It was almost as if he was an OP goalkeeper like Joe Hart on FIFA 13. And look at this here, Jordan Ayew's through on goal, one-on-one with the keeper. I feel as though maybe there should have been a free kick, or maybe even a penalty. I mean, it was obvious to everyone, even you guys that are watching, that his jersey was being pulled back, he was being obstructed from playing, and it was just diabolical. But obviously nothing came of it, and the ball hit the side netting and went out for a goal kick. Well, in the second half, Jordan Ayew makes way for Darren Bent, who returns back to action for Everton, and returns at Goodison Park after being out for 3 months, and he almost got his returning goal. But Sorensen once again proven to be a difficult challenge between those sticks for Stoke. We had probably one last attack of this game as well. Darren Bent picking out Ola John, who can see Morales making the run into the box, but again Sorensen, such bravery, comes in and blocks us from getting a goal. And I was really annoyed after that result. I felt as though we should have at least got a goal in that game. And the final whistle was blown. It was a 0-0 draw, and we just had to move on to our next fixture, which is against Tottenham Hotspurs. It's the last game in this video, guys, and there is the league table. We go down a position after City picked up the win in that last game. Obviously we drew against Stoke, which I didn't want to happen because I wanted to catch up with Arsenal and maybe even overtake them and leapfrog them. It just wasn't meant to be. I knew we had some upcoming difficult games like City and Arsenal and this one against Tottenham, but there was no excuse for not walking away with the result because we didn't have to worry about any midweek games. Our team was going to be fit for every single game that was upcoming unless we lost a player due to injury. And in this game I bring on Jordan Ayew. Darren Bent wasn't really producing much. Obviously he's still easing back into the squad. It was a great decision to bring on Stephen Pienaar, who redeemed himself after that poor performance against Arsenal, and he makes it 1-0 to Everton in the 69th minute. Surely we are going to walk away with this with yet another 1-0 win. At least it's not a draw, right? We get those 3 points, and that is going to end this video. We end on a high, and I do hope you've enjoyed, guys. Do stay tuned for more as we continue the home stretch to the end of the season. Peace out.